It is really cold and I should be working on my thesis, but I got a little distracted, so I'm doing this instead. As you can tell, it's storming outside. I'm inadequately dressed and this camera is precariously propped on a few boxes and it's very windy. So we'll see how this goes. I want to tell a story, one that I wrote for my narrativity and performance class this year, because it's fun and I need to clear my mind before I start writing my thesis. Got that writer's block. Some of the story is true and some of it is fiction, and I think it would be fun to try and tell what is true and what is not. Let's get started. So it's December 20th, 2013, and I've just finished my first semester exams of second year university. I'm more than ready to head home to Markham for Christmas and to see my friends for our annual Christmas friend miss party. My friends Justin and Martin were coming to pick me up at my shitty university apartment in Justin's shitty red Mazda hatchback, and it was around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. His little red Mazda was an old car, but it still looked pretty fresh. I had that fresh red paint. He got it for free from his uncle, and it was one of those cars that you have to drive stick on. Maybe you can tell where this story is going then. I want to tell you a little bit about the weather that day. It was kind of similar to today, a little less rainy and a little more snow. It was snowing, as it usually does in the Canadian winter. It was that light and fluffy, sweet kind of snow, the kind that you want to roll around and toboggan in. But this was no ordinary snowstorm. It was the legendary Eastern Canadian ice storm of 2013, which left nearly 500,000 people without electricity and ended up killing 27 people in Toronto. So we're making that slight turn from the 416 to the 401, that small ramp, when Justin lost control of the wheel in the snow. The tire slipped in the snow and we made a 180-degree turn on the highway until Justin's shitty red Mazda smashed through the guardrail halfway onto the mound of snow on the right shoulder of the ramp. I remember none of us screaming. No one even made a sound. I remember watching the snow, which was already frozen, freeze again in space, as if time had stopped and I could see each individual snowflake dance around the car. Once we had collected ourselves, we got out of the car. I remember smashing my jacket zipper on the car door so that it would not zip up again for the rest of the night. Justin called CAA and waited around for them, but a kind Samaritan in a big truck stopped to help us. He was one of the only people on the road because the roads were so bad, and he offered to drive us to the nearest town. Martin and I joined him as Justin waited for CAA, and he drove us to what we discovered was the only McDonald's in Prescott. I ordered a junior chicken, and Martin got a hamburger without the bun. We got a call from Justin, and he said that CAA had picked him up and said that maybe there was a possibility we could just take off the bumper, hopefully all the tires are all right, and we could still drive and make it back to Markham for that Christmas party. But it turns out it was wrong, of course. They only got our hopes up for about an hour. And they dragged the shitty red Mazda to the McDonald's parking lot in Prescott. We found out that maybe there was a last train that had yet to leave the station at another nearby town. We were hopeful that we could make that via rail to get back to the Friendsmas party. So we called a cab after stowing away the car, and he took us to the Via train station. I remember getting out and all of the lights were off inside the station. I was wearing stupid heels because I was ready for the party, and my jacket was entirely unzipped and it was still snowing. But we couldn't make the train, so we walked up the steep, icy, snowy hill with our luggage, me in heels, to the nearest hotel. Defeated, we bought train tickets home for the first train out the next morning. We realized that we would not be making it that night, and I finally had the wherewithal to call my mother and tell her what happened. Didn't want to worry her. The host of Friendsmas, Tiffany, was disappointed that we couldn't make it that night and decided to postpone it until we could be there. Bless her heart. We settled into the hotel room, and we had Kettleman's bagels, which we were just like fisting and stuffing into our mouths because we were so hungry. We settled into the hotel room and ordered a large Hawaiian pizza. We didn't even have to try too hard to not take our frustrations out on each other. The most amazing thing out of this whole experience was not that we did not die. We didn't even have to try too hard not to rip each other's throats off. Looking back, that was the most shocking thing of the whole experience. That we were so frustrated, that the universe kept shitting on us, and we didn't have to take it out on each other. We made it back the next afternoon with just enough time to shower before Friendsmas. The end. Thank you for listening to my story. Bye.